Okay, let's talk about the semifinals of the North American League 2021 season finals. But first, I'll just mention what happened in EU. First, on that Citizen thing, so there seems to be a little bit of a discrepancy. It's unclear if he got 55 or 56 kills. It seems to have been semi-officially indicated that he got 56, but I'm pretty sure it's 55, and that the counter or whatever, whoever was counting on stream or their automation for it or whatever it was, got it wrong. Probably because of the rehost in the first map. And so I went back and looked at how many kills he had at various points, and I'm fairly certain. So he had 12 kills going into the rehost on the first map, and then 11 kills after. So that gives him 23 on the first map. Second map, he got 23. Third map, he got 9. So that's 23, and 23 makes 46. 9 on top of that makes 55. So I'm pretty sure it's 55. Even though it's a little bit unclear for one reason or other. CGG still doesn't have the stats up for that, and I don't know if it's because their automation failed for it or something. I assume that's how they do their stats. I can't imagine that they're doing them all manually these days. Okay, so I just thought I'd address that really quickly. I'm pretty sure it's 55, but maybe 56. I'll let you know, I guess, if it becomes totally clear, but it seems pretty clear, right? And then also in EU, just earlier today being Sunday, December 12th, we saw the Challenger League final. So again, the winner of that auto-qualified for the European League next year, and the loser of that gets to fight Team Secret for a spot. So M&M won, and well, good for them. You know, they were very close to making it last time, and they lost out to Kavana, and they made it this time. And so now we'll see Hellraisers versus Secret, I think, next weekend. And I think, if I had to guess, I would say Secret looks to be the favorite in that. They look pretty good in that qualifier they played recently, and of course, they're just the more tenured team and whatnot. And Hellraisers didn't look bad, but again, I'm not super familiar with maybe M&M is just on a whole other level than them, and so we'll just have to see Hellraisers versus Secret. Anyways, let's talk about NAL, which is the main thing I wanted to talk about. So, right, we have the finals, the grand final of the finals coming up later today, as well as the relegation match between XSET and Parabellum. But yesterday we saw Dark Zero versus Space Station, and we saw Sonics versus Oxygen. And I mean, I'm assuming you know the results of that, but if you are unaware, Space Station lost to Dark Zero, and that was a bit of a shocker. I mean, myself and like everybody else probably thought that Space Station was going to win, and for a multitude of reasons. And you know, I'm sure some people might have predicted Dark Zero. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility or anything, and obviously as they won it. And so let's just check out how it went down really quickly. The first map went all 15 rounds. It was intense, and at the very end, it looked like Dark Zero were about to win. They were up on man count, but the time ran out. They lost the game, and then going into the second map, it looks like Space Station, after the win on Villa, were just sort of starting to they were starting to wake up, and they were just going to run away with it. They went up 3-0 on Coastline, and then Dark Zero took 2 rounds. Space Station took 1 more, so they end their first half 4-2. That was their attacking half, generally the half that you expect to do better on Coastline. Then Dark Zero just wins 5 in a row, and they go from 2-4 to 7-4. They don't drop an attack, and they just close out the map. And then on their old home turf of Clubhouse, the map that Space Station was famous for back in the day, they just lost 7-4. So in terms of the maps that we saw here, I want to say Dark Zero might have had a little bit of an advantage. We've seen Space Station falter on Coastline to Sonics for one, and in other instances as well. It's just sometimes it just seemed questionable for them to go there when they are such a powerful strategic team to go to the least strat heavy map. And again, I don't recall how the ban face went, but we didn't see a cafe here, which Space Station is very good on, but we did see Clubhouse, which they've been good on, but they're just not as good on it anymore as they used to be. And then Villa, which I think a lot of people think Space Station is strong on, but I think Dark Zero and then maybe Mirage were the 2 most impressive teams on Villa throughout the course of all 3 stages of the year, just statistically. And okay, so Space Station fell. Yeah, it was a shocker. And this sets up quite the juicy grand finals. But before I talk about that, let me talk about the other match really quickly. Oxygen versus Sonics. So as I expected, as probably a lot of people expected, not in regards to the game, this went so late. I don't know why they can't stay on track time-wise. Like, it just... I mean, some things you can't predict. Sometimes there are technical errors and whatever, but it just seems like for whatever reason the broadcast cannot stay on a tight schedule, like in terms of things that they can control. So this went so late, and if I'm being honest, I went to sleep after the first map, and I just watched the rest in the morning. because it was already, I don't even know what time. But okay, so I watched the rest of it. And I mean, I thought Oxygen was going to come out on top. They did win the first map, and it was quite the close affair. This was an intense series. This is one to watch for sure. I mean both 15 round maps for the first two maps, and then not quite as close on the last one, but it was still pretty intense. It was back and forth throughout the last map. I don't think any team ever took a 2-point lead for the first 8 rounds, and then Sonics just ran away with it at the end. But yeah, just Oregon, it came down to, well, on a lot of maps, teams have an advantage when they go into overtime because one team gets to defend or attack twice or whatever. And Oxygen got to defend twice in overtime, so good for them. They won that. And then very intense also on Clubhouse. We saw one big round from Super where he got like a 3K. It was like a 2v4 or something, and he runs in and stops the plan, kills a guy, and then they win the round. And yeah, I guess that's all I need to say about this one, right? I wanted to talk about the storyline a little bit, what this implies. So Space Station fell. They were clearly the best team throughout the year in North American League, and now they will not be the winner of the league in the finals. And I mean, this doesn't mean everything. They're losing out on money and some prestige and whatever. But again, this isn't for qualification, and there is a reason to not play your hardest here, and that you are trying to save strats and whatever for SI. That is a little ways away, and it did look like it wasn't just them saving strats or anything. Like it was, they were getting outplayed by Dark Zero. Dark Zero was just playing really well. They definitely bossed up. Dark Zero has been super weird throughout the year. They've had moments of brilliance and just periods of brilliance, I suppose, and then other times where they weren't so hot. Them and Space Station both weren't great in stage 1. And then Dark Zero had their struggles in stage 2, but they were technically, if you disregard the overtime point system, if you just give teams full points or no points if they win or lose, they were technically the best team because Space Station and Dark Zero each only lost one game, but the one game Space Station lost was to Dark Zero, so they would have had the head-to-head there. And then this last stage, I mean, Dark Zero sort of just scraped into the top 4, but I mean, they made it. And okay, so Sonics and Dark Zero in the grand finals. So, right, like I said, Dark Zero's had their ups and downs, and let me talk about Sonics then. So Sonics, I mean, they've come a long way. They were an okay team back when it was the US division, right? They were the perennial 5th best team, just below Oxygen, Space Station, Dark Zero, and TSM, and now here they are, clearly a top 4 team. I think it's unclear which team is not within the top 4, and it's just much easier to say top 5 because clearly TSM belongs with these teams. They've just had struggles very recently, and they'd be here if it wasn't for the fact that the qualification for the finals was based on just stage 3, not the entire year. And okay, so Sonics, they beat Space Station in this most recent game that they played in stage 3, and they have the overall head-to-head against them. So the one team that they were outdone by on points, they've bested them in some regard. They beat their longtime rivals Oxygen here. They have the overall head-to-head, I think, over the year, even though the most recent game that they played before this one went to Oxygen. But yeah, Sonics has the overall head-to-head, and they get a little bit of revenge here. Oxygen just edged them out in stage 1. Oxygen took first place, Sonics took second place. And then Sonics kind of crushed Oxygen in stage 2. And then stage 3 again here, it was Oxygen coming out on top of Sonics. But in the finals here, Sonics win. And then Dark Zero. So they played Dark Zero in this most recent stage and beat them. And that was the first time that they beat them, I think, ever after a very long period of time, like 2 years or something. Dark Zero had a win streak on them, and it was like 8 times that they played. Dark Zero had won, something crazy. And finally, Sonics broke that. And now here they are one more time to see if they can start a streak on Dark Zero, or if Dark Zero can prove that one game was a fluke, because Dark Zero is definitely looking better, but I'd say Sonics look a little bit better than they did. Not that they look bad, but they lost to Oxygen in stage 3, and then they just beat them here. So even if it's a small improvement, I think still an improvement. Dark Zero more on a sharper increase. So we'll see whose trajectory has led them to be the better team at the moment. Yeah, cool matchup to see in the finals. It seems like maybe these aren't the two teams that belong here based on the whole year's play, but I mean, the fact that they just won their matches here, I mean, yeah, I suppose they belong. Maybe they wouldn't have won a best 3 out of 5. Maybe Dark Zero looked like they probably would have beat Space Station. Sonics, they were pulling head in the end in that they won the 3rd map the most decisively of any of the maps. But these are, of course, the 3rd and 4th place teams from stage 3. And then I guess overall for the year, I think Dark Zero was 5th place on points, and Sonics tied in 2nd with Oxygen, but having the head-to-head over Oxygen, so we'll say 2nd. So, I don't want to say these teams don't belong here, but it especially the space station thing, it seemed like they would have been here. And I mean, well, this might be the best storyline though. Like this might be the most exciting game, just based on things that have happened in the past. And because of course, if Space Station had just continued to look as dominant as they had before, like it just a beatdown wouldn't have been nearly as fun. Wouldn't have been nearly as fun. So here we go. Two teams coming off two very tense matches going into just one last match. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It should be crazy. And then perhaps even more crazy, that relegation game, that X-Set Parabellum game, which, oh man, that's probably going to go so late. Although they did make it earlier. I don't recall actually what time they changed it to, or I guess it's 3 hours after this one. So I think, so this one starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm recording this at about 2 p.m. Eastern. So you'll probably, if you watch this video as it goes up, see this shortly before you watch this match. And then I think at 7 o'clock Eastern, the relegation match is slated to start, and we'll see when it actually starts. And that'll be a best 3 out of 5. And so it could go 5 maps, could be crazy. And okay, who do I think is going to win, Sonics or Dark Zero? Man, I mean, I know who I'm going to pick because I want to pick them, but Dark Zero looking hot after having just beat the best team in North America Space Station. So who do I think's going to win? I really don't know, but I'm going to go with Sonics. They're one of my favorite teams, and I'm going to rock with them. I think they can do it, and this would be just the absolute, just the punctuation on the statement that has been this year for them. Coming, like I was saying, maybe I didn't finish the sentiment earlier, but coming from that perennial fifth place position, dropping almost the whole team, picking up a new team, which was the first or second worst team in the league. They picked up most of the United roster and then brought them to this height. Potentially the winner of the league overall. So it would be very cool to see, but it would also be a good redemption arc for say Canadian, maybe even for joining the roster and then bringing them to this height pretty quickly, and then also just for the rest of the team having those ups and downs. And okay, so I think I'm probably done here, all the rambling aside. So right, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, leave them below. And with all of that being said, I will catch you in the next video.